Hey, welcome back to Categorical Data. So again, as I said last time, the first part, which kind of is an explore and how does things work, will be in a link below. I'm going to do that separately, and then I'm going to go through and we're going to do the formalized things separately, so you can kind of break it up as you need to. For my classes, and depending upon, again, you can either print these all out, or I'm going to suggest that you guys have a notebook that you're going to keep this stuff in. Okay, if you want to do both of them in the same notebook, that's fine. If you want to do, almost every lesson we're going to have is going to have one of these important idea things here. And so if you want to keep all of those separately in one notebook, so when we get to that part, you can go to that, that would be fine. In fact, that would probably be a good way to do it. So when we're studying for the AP test, you have all of them right there. Okay? If we were doing it at school, I've thought about doing it as learning cards, but that's something else. So anyway, so the important ideas for categorical data is this. So we've got two of them, so I'm going to kind of split it down the middle. I'm going to make it a little bit off center. Okay, we'll do that. Let's define categorical. Categorical. Okay. They report either frequencies. What do we do? Measure those in? That's going to be counts. So the actual physical number of how many things are. You're going to need to use your fingers for that one. Or relative frequencies, which are percentages, fractions. Ooh, I know, scary stuff. And you're going to show them, reported as shown, report frequencies. You're going to show them in bar graphs or pie charts. Yay! Exciting, I know. So that's that. In fact, let's even underline this a little bit. We're just going to go. Now we have something called the two-way table. And again, as I said, you may have seen this in Algebra 1. We teach it there in our stats in one of our 3 little mini stat units. So you're going to have this, and we're just going to make a simple table. Okay, and so we've got totals down here. We've got totals over here. And so you're going to do, let's see. So if I've got a piece of data here, which is A, if I got B, and I have C, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to have a category up here. So category 1, category 2, and typically the cause and the cause will be up here, the effect will be down here. Sorry, it's been a long day. Kicking a lot of these out. So your marginal, underline that. Your marginal relative frequency, you need to go in the margin, so that's going to be B out of C. Okay. You've got a joint relative frequency. Joint means you have to have 2 categories in it. So 2 categories is going to be where these two intersect, like that. There's your joint intersection, so A out of C. And then for your conditional, you need to meet one of the conditions first. So you're going to talk about it's going to be out of the people out of one of the categories. So you're going to talk about just those. So you're going to kind of isolate that, in which case it's going to be A out of B. And then I'll relate it to this is association between 2 variables happens when? Remember what we said? When the 2 graphs, remember we have them back over here, right? Where they go? There. When these 2 graphs are not the same. Oh my gosh, why is that not setting it up? I am just an awful video teacher. So between 2 variables, when knowing one affects the other. Yay! All right, so that's the main ideas of what we got out of this little discovery asset. And again, that's how we're going to run most things. We're going to do some stuff. It may not seem like math. We're going to do some stuff. We're going to find some neat kind of pieces. And then we're going to say, hey, guess what? This is how we talk about it like academics. So what I want you to do, since you've got copies of this, I want you to run through these two problems. You can do them separately on a separate sheet of paper. Again, the link to the documents are down below. This is on page 6. Okay, there we go. Run through them, answer them yourselves, and then while you pause this video, and then we'll talk through them again. All right, welcome back. So, I know, Mr. Hayes, we don't have PS3s and Xbox 360s anymore. In fact, we're getting new ones. Yeah, thank you. I hope you get a new one at Christmas. Anyway, I needed a graph. It worked. So students at a local high school were asked which one they preferred. We said nothing. Okay, stop. So we had 49% here. It would appear to say PlayStation, Xbox 360 was about 46. Now, why is this graph misleading? Now, remember what we talked about back on the first one. If you're talking about bar graphs, where should they start? Okay. The vertical scale should start where? Okay. Why is that? Then the difference in heights is, notice we got this big difference here. It's only 3%. Wouldn't be exaggerated. Exaggerated. How many people said neither? You can't tell here because why? Because look, if I got 49 here and 46 here, you know there's 5% who said neither, but you can't see them. So it would also allow, it would also show the neither category then. Neither or neither. It's got to be one of those words like data and data, right? All right. An article in the Journal of American Medical Association. Many of you guys, I think, are probably going to go into health fields. I usually get a lot of those. Design study to see if St. John's wort is effective, blah, 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 causing depression. 338 patients treated for major depression, randomly received one. Some got St. John's wort, some got Zoloft, which is a prescription drug, and some got a placebo. We're going to talk about designing these things, designing of experiments and setups later in the unit. Just know that placebo is something that when you get a drug, you think, that, I mean, you know that you're taking something, but you just don't know that you're not taking anything. Because sometimes that's enough. There's a good MASH episode about that. Ask your parents what that means. The two-way table summarizes the data from the experiment. So what proportion of subjects in the study were randomly assigned to take John's wort? So proportion for St. John's wort. So that would be all this whole giant category. So we would have to go through and total this all up. 27 plus 70 is 97, so we get 115. And we know that the total is 338. Okay? So you'd have 113. 113? Yes, I'm sorry. It should be 113. I know, some of you guys, I could hear you screaming. I thought, just ignore it. Apparently, I should have listened. I'm sorry. So 113 out of 338. That's going to give you a number equal to about a third. Which actually would make sense because you'd think that you'd give a third of everybody, right? Explain why this value makes sense. Oh, well, there you go. With 3 treatments, a third of the group should get each. Find the distribution of change in depression for the subjects in this study using relative frequencies. Okay, so what you're going to end up doing here is, again, so distribution of change in depression. Here's your changes of depression. So over here, we've got full response. What do I have down here? 91. Partial response at 55, and then no response was 192. So you'd go from there. So you'd say full response turned out to be 91 out of 338. Partial response, 55 out of 338. And in terms of percentages, this was what? Just under 27%. This one's just over 56. And then for partial, I take that. This was no response. And then, I know, I heard you screaming again. I'm sorry. I make mistakes. It happens. So partial response is 55 out of 338. And that's just over 16%. And actually, to be honest, that often is the case where sometimes you will get not a huge response out of the different things. It is interesting, just side note, that more people got a full response out of the depression by taking the placebo, just thinking they were taking something, than anything else. We'll talk more about that later. What percentage of the subjects who took Zoloft? So that is going to be, we're going to do one of these joint ones. So how many people took Zoloft? Okay, so you add all of that up. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread it. That's why you read all the questions. What percentage of subjects took Zoloft and showed a full response? So you want both of them. Zoloft and full response. So that's going to be 27 out of 338. And that's going to give you 8%. Okay? So that's it. Welcome to Categorical Data and how to use it. Now, we'll see you tomorrow. Before I forget, like, subscribe, hit the little bell, all those wonderful things. Get your arm out of your screen. Tell you. So we'll talk to you later.